My name is Helen, and I'm 55 years old. I live in a quiet apartment on the third floor of an old brick building. I used to live here with my daughter, Emily, but she moved to another city 3 years ago for work. The space felt big when she left, even though it's not a large place. I work as a receptionist at a small dental clinic. My days are mostly the same: phones ringing, appointment reminders, and paperwork. I don't mind the routine. It keeps my mind from drifting too much. I got divorced when I was 38. My husband and I tried to stay together for our daughter's sake, but some things break slowly and never fit the same again. He lives in another state now. We don't talk, but sometimes I hear updates through Emily. Since my daughter moved away, the evenings are the hardest. I make dinner for one, usually something simple like soup or rice with vegetables. I still catch myself setting 2 plates sometimes out of habit. Then I put one back before I sit down. There's a little balcony connected to my living room. I keep 3 plants there, 2 ferns, and a small rose bush. I talk to them more than I talk to people outside of work. Plants don't ask questions. They just exist and grow when you care for them. Every Sunday, my daughter calls me. She always asks if I'm eating well and if I'm taking my vitamins. I tell her yes, even if I forget sometimes. I don't want her to worry. She has her own life now, and she sounds happy when she talks about it. At night, I leave a lamp on in the hallway. I don't like the dark, and I don't like silence either. I usually let the television play quietly in the background, even if I'm not watching it. Last week, I found an old box in my closet while I was looking for my winter coat. Inside were drawings my daughter made when she was little, birthday cards, and a photo of the 3 of us at the beach. I sat down on the floor and looked through everything slowly. I didn't cry, but my chest felt heavy in a familiar way. There's a neighbor across the hall named Mr. Patel. He's retired and likes to water his plants early in the morning. We don't talk much, but sometimes he nods at me when we pass each other. Once, when the elevator wasn't working, he carried my groceries up the stairs without me asking. I thanked him, and he just smiled and said, "We're neighbors. It matters." A few months ago, I started reading again. I used to love books when I was younger, but life got loud and I stopped. Now I keep a small stack on my nightstand. Some nights I only read a page before I get tired, but it feels good to hold a story in my hands. My sister lives 2 hours away. She visits when she can, but she has her own children and a busy life. When she calls, she tells me I should join a club or take a class, something to be around people. I tell her I'll think about it, even though I know I probably won't. There's a small park near my building. I walk there sometimes after work. I sit on the same bench and watch the birds pick at crumbs on the pavement. There's a couple that walks their dog there every evening. I don't know their names, but I know the dog's name is Rosie because they call her gently when she runs too far. I don't feel sad all the time. Some days are quiet in a peaceful way. Other days, the silence feels like a reminder of everything that used to be here. I don't talk about it with anyone. I just move through the hours, one task at a time. Last Thursday, I got a letter in the mail. I don't get many letters anymore, mostly bills and flyers, but this one had my name written in familiar handwriting. It was from Emily. She usually texts or calls, so I was surprised. Inside, there was a small note and a photograph. The picture showed her standing in front of her new office building, smiling. In the note, she said she had been thinking about me and missed our talks in the kitchen. She wrote, "I know I'm far, but you're still home to me." I read it 3 times before putting it in the drawer next to my bed. That evening, I made tea the way she and I used to, chamomile with a little honey. I sat at the table and placed the photo beside my cup. I don't know why, but the room didn't feel as empty for a while. A few days ago, my coworker, Maria, asked if I wanted to go to the farmer's market with her this Saturday. I almost said no out of habit, but then I said I would go. She seemed surprised, but happy. I'm not sure if I will enjoy it, but maybe that's not the point. Maybe showing up is enough. Sometimes at the clinic, kids come in with their parents. Some of them hold their mother's hands the way Emily used to hold mine when she was small. I try not to stare, but those moments tug at something deep inside me. At night, I've started opening the window a little before I go to bed. The air is cold, but I like hearing the distant sounds of cars and footsteps. It reminds me that life is still happening around me, even if I'm not in the middle of it. I don't think my life is sad, it's just quiet. Some people fear quiet, but I've learned to live inside it. Still, there are days when I wish someone would knock on my door and ask how I'm doing, and stay long enough to hear the real answer. This morning, I woke up earlier than usual. The sun was just starting to come through the curtains, and the apartment was quiet in that soft way it is before the day begins. I made coffee and sat by the window with my robe still on. For a moment, I just watched the light move across the floor. It felt calm. Not happy, not sad, just calm. I thought about calling Emily, but decided to wait until Sunday, like always. I don't want her to think something is wrong every time I reach out. She has her own worries, even if she doesn't say them out loud. On my way to work, I saw a little girl walking to school with her father. She was talking about something with so much excitement that her hands were moving in every direction. He just listened and smiled at her like every word mattered. I didn't mean to stare, but it made me think of the days I used to walk Emily to school. She would talk the whole way, and I would pretend to be tired of it, even though I loved every second. At the clinic, there was a slow hour in the afternoon, so I organized the filing cabinet. I found an old photo someone had left pinned inside the drawer, a group of staff members from years ago. I didn't recognize most of the faces, but I recognized the room. It made me think about how many people move through a place without leaving much behind. When I got home, there was a voicemail from my sister. She said she might visit in a few weeks and asked if I needed anything. I listened twice before deleting it. I don't need anything she can bring in a bag, but it would be nice to hear another pair of footsteps in the hallway. Tonight, I might try cooking something new. I saw a recipe online for roasted potatoes with herbs. It doesn't take long, and it makes the house smell like someone else is coming over, even if no one is. Tonight, I set the table with 2 plates again. I noticed myself doing it halfway through and almost put the extra one back like I always do. But this time, I left it there. I didn't sit across from it or pretend someone would fill the seat. I just let it be. Maybe it didn't mean anything, but maybe it did. Maybe it was my way of saying that emptiness doesn't have to be erased to be survived. After dinner, I washed the dishes slowly and let the water run over my hands a little longer than needed. I dried everything, turned off the kitchen light, and stood in the doorway for a moment. I thought about the bakery I don't work at, the family I don't live with, and the life I still haven't completely left behind or fully stepped into. I know people think loneliness is loud and miserable, but sometimes it's quiet and careful. Sometimes it takes shape in routines and small adjustments. An open window, a saved letter, an empty chair you stop being afraid to look at. I don't know what will change in the next year or even the next month. Maybe nothing, maybe something small, maybe something important. But for the first time in a long while, I don't feel like my life is paused. It's just quieter than other people's, and that's allowed. If you stayed with me through my story, thank you. There are many voices like mine, quiet, steady, still learning how to keep going. If you want to hear more lives like this, more hearts that speak softly, stay with us. Subscribe, listen, and don't go far. There are more stories waiting to be told.